today's session, we are going to discuss the drug metabolism, that is the phase 2 reactions. Let us see the learning objectives. After completion of today's module, you will be able to enlist phase 2 reactions which are responsible for the metabolism or biotransformation of a drug, and you will be able to understand the phase 2 metabolic pathways. So we are going to discuss the details of the phase 2 metabolic pathway. So let us move towards the phase 2 reactions. Phase 2 reactions, it is known as the conjugation reaction. Some endogenous material, it is going to be conjugated with the drug molecule or its metabolites. Metabolites from the phase 1 reactions or the phase 1 biotransformation. Phase 2 reactions involves transfer of endogenous moiety in the presence of enzyme transferase to drugs or metabolites of phase 1 reactions. The endogenous moieties which are going to be transferred like glucuronic acid, sulfate, glycine and so on. In most of the cases, the glucuronic acid conjugates are formed in the body and which are going to be easily excreted from the body. As you know that the biotransformation is furthermore divided as phase 1 and phase 2. The phase 1 reactions involve the oxidation, reduction, hydrolysis and other. And phase 2 reactions which are more precisely the conjugation, for example, conjugation with the sulfate. These phase 2 reactions are the true detoxification reaction. Truly, the drug it is going to be detoxified. Phase 2 reactions or metabolites are highly polar in nature, so they are going to be easily excreted from the body. They are free from the pharmacological activity. They are not having any pharmacological activity because it is being conjugated with the another molecule, and also they are non-carcinogenic due to the conjugation, and it gets easily excreted from the body. So this is again I have shown the representative of the phase 1 and phase 2 reaction. So in the phase 1 reaction, drug, it is going to be converted into the active metabolite, right? And if this active metabolite, it gets covalently bonded with the any of the tissue, that may leads to the toxicities, isn't it? And furthermore, they are going to take a part in the phase 2 reactions with the transferase enzyme with the endogenous moieties like glucuronic acid, sulfate, glycine, amino acids, and so on. And we are getting the conjugated drug product which gets easily excreted from the urine or the bile. The drugs which are having a molecular weight greater than 500 Dalton, that is a conjugated form of drug which is having a molecular weight greater than 500 Dalton, which are exclusively excreted through the bile, and the drug conjugates which are having the molecular weight less than 300 Dalton, they are going to be excreted via the urine. So phase 2 metabolites are whatever the products which we are getting after phase 2 metabolism, that is a conjugation, they are more water soluble. Water solubility of these products, it is more, and it gets easily excreted from the body. So here there is a trapping of highly electrophilic molecules with a endogenous nucleophiles such as glutathione, for example. So there is a formation of a glutathione conjugate also. Glutathione prevents damage to important macromolecules like a DNA, RNA or a protein. So there may be the chances of whatever the phase 1 metabolites, they are going to more specifically binds with the DNA, RNAs or protein, and they are going to damage the structure. So in such cases, the conjugation with the glutathione which prevents the damage to the DNA and the RNA. So with certain exceptions, the phase 2 reactions, these are the true detoxifying pathway. Truly the drug, it is going to be detoxified. It is not having any toxicity. It gets easily excreted from the body. The appropriate transferase enzyme, it is going to activate the transferring group from the glucuronate, sulfate, methyl and acetyl in a coenzyme form. So whatever the endogenous material is there, it is going to be activated. Either the drug it is being activated, or the endogenous material it is going to be activated. And furthermore, there is a transfer of a group, so as to we are getting the conjugated product. As I have said that the phase 2 reactions are the real drug detoxification pathways. Why it is to so? Why the phase 2 reactions are the real drug detoxification pathways? Because of conjugates are free from the pharmacological activity. Very first thing, they are not having any kind of the pharmacological activity. They are free from pharmacological activity. The conjugated products are highly polar and excreted via bile or urine. So whatever the conjugated products are there, they are going to be excreted via bile or the urine. And the toxic phase 1 metabolites converted into the harmless by the conjugation. The phase 2 reactions have a capacity to detoxify the phase 1 metabolites, and thereby they are going to reduce the toxic effects of the phase 1 reaction metabolic products. That's why it is said to be the real drug detoxification pathway. That is a phase 2 reactions or phase 2 metabolism. Let us see the properties of conjugating agent. As I have said that there is a formation of so many types of the conjugates, isn't it? Say for example, glucuronate, then with the conjugation with the amino acids, then sulfates, and so on. So what are these materials? So these materials or conjugating agents are the simple endogenous material. Say for example, carbohydrates, proteins, or fats. They are having a large molecular size, and itself they are highly polar or ionic in nature and makes drug water soluble. Once the adds these endogenous material, they are highly polar or ionic in nature, and they makes the drug water soluble. Let us see the molecular weight of these conjugating agents. I have listed over here only the few conjugating agents. So for example, glucuronic acid, it is having a molecular weight 176. Then the sulfate, it is 80. Glutathione, it's a 300. Mostly the conjugates which are having molecular weight greater than 350 excreted via bile, whereas the conjugates which are having molecular weight less than 250 excreted via urine. So whatever the conjugated products are there, they are going to be excreted either through the urine or through the bile. So if the conjugate is having a molecular weight greater than 350 Dalton, then such conjugates are going to be excreted via bile, whereas if the conjugate is having the molecular weight less than 250 Dalton, such conjugates are going to be excreted via urine. Let us see the characteristics of the conjugation reaction. So generally, there is a first step is there, that is the initial activation step, and second is the transfer of the drug molecule on the conjugating agent. So initial step, that is a drug, it is going to be activated, or the conjugating reagent, it is going to be activated. And in the second step, there is a formation of the conjugate. As all these conjugation reactions are the capacity limited reactions, it is going to be the system, it is going to be saturated, as limited amount of conjugating reagent it is present, or it may be due to limited amount of enzyme. So the order of capacity limited reaction, most of the drugs, they are going to follow the glucuronidation. So the maximum drug, they are going to take a part in the, or they are going to be eliminated from the body as a glucuronidation, then the amino acid conjugation, then the sulfation and glutathione conjugation. Let us move towards the details of further details of the phase 2 reactions. There is a types of phase 2 reactions. So here I have made one table, that is a phase 2 reactions and their characteristics. So the first one, that is the glucuronidation. So here in the case of glucuronidation, the conjugating agent which is used, that is a glucuronic acid, and the enzyme which is involved in the reaction, that is a UDP glucuronyl transferase. This enzyme which is responsible, or which is going to catalyze the reaction, the activated intermediate in the glucuronidation conjugation reaction is a UDPGA, and the functional groups which are going to take a part in the glucuronidation reaction, that is a dash OH, dash COOH, dash NH2 and dash SH, isn't it? So this is about the glucuronidation. The second conjugation reaction, that is a sulfation. So in the sulfation, the conjugating agent is sulfate, and the enzyme which is involved, that is known as the sulfotransferase. The activated intermediate, it is a PAPS, and the functional groups which are going to take part in this conjugation reaction, that is a dash OH and dash NH2. The third conjugation reaction, that is a conjugation with the amino acid. Conjugating agent, it is a glycine. So many other amino acids are also going to take a part in the, they are going to act as a conjugating agent. So here the enzyme involved, that is known as the acyl transferase. The activated intermediate in the amino acid conjugation reaction is the acyl CoA, and the functional groups which are going to be take part in this conjugation reaction, that is dash COOH and dash NH2. Then the fourth conjugation reaction, that is a glutathione. So conjugating agent, that is a glutathione, and the enzyme which is involved in the this conjugation reaction, that is a glutathione S transferase, and the functional groups that like alkyl halide, alkyl nitrile, alkyl epoxide, and so on. Then in the case of acetylation, the conjugating agent is acetyl coenzyme A. Then the enzyme involved N-acetyl transferase, activated intermediate, that is acetyl CoA, and the functional groups like hydrazenes, dash NH2, SO2, NH2. And the last conjugation reaction, that is a methylation. Conjugating agent is L-methionine. Then the enzyme involved, that is known as a methyl transferase, and activated intermediate, that is a S-adenosyl methionine, that is a SAM, and a functional group dash OH, dash NH2, and dash SH. So these are the few of the conjugation reaction. Apart from this, there are so many other conjugations are also there, which are responsible for the phase 2 reactions or the metabolism. So furthermore, phase 2 reactions are classified as the conjugation with the glucuronic acid, then conjugation with the sulfate moieties, conjugation with the alpha amino acids, conjugation with the glutathione and mercapturic acid formation, then acetylation reaction, then methylation reaction, and certain miscellaneous conjugation reactions. Let us see one by one the details of the each conjugation reaction. Very first one, that is a conjugation with glucuronic acid. So the conjugation with the glucuronic acid is the most common conjugation pathway, and most of the phase 1 metabolites, they are going to take a part in the glucuronidation conjugation. Here the coenzyme UDP, that is uridine diphosphoglucuronic acid, is synthesized from the corresponding phosphate, and the UDP glucuronic acid contains the D-glucuronic acid in a configuration at the anomeric center, but the glucuronate conjugate are B glycoside meaning the inversion of stereochemistry is involved in the glucuronidation. This is the chemistry part. So whatever the glucuride conjugates are there, they are highly hydrophilic in nature and they are water soluble and gets easily excreted from the body. So uridine diphosphate glucuronyl transferase is a closely associated. This is an enzyme which is responsible for catalysis of the conjugation with the glucuronic acid. So this is a closely associated with the CYP450, so that the phase 1 products of drugs are efficiently conjugated. There are 4 general classes of glucuronides, that is dash O, dash N, dash S, and dash C. There is one good example related with the deficiency of the glucuronic acid conjugation in the case of neonates, as it is not well developed. That is, in the case of neonates, underdeveloped liver, that is UDP glucuronyl transferase activity and may exhibit the metabolic problem. For example, chloramphenicol, it is not metabolized and in the neonates, and that may lead to the gray baby syndrome. This is the best example. Then second one, neonatal jaundice may be attributed to their inability to conjugate the bilirubin with the glucuronic acid, as the UDP glucuronosyl transferase activity, it is not well developed, isn't it? So the glucuronidation, it is not possible in the neonates. Let us see the further details of glucuronic acid conjugation. Let us see the steps in the glucuronidation formation. So it's a 2-step. Very first step, that is a synthesis, and second step, there is a transfer. So in the first step, there is a synthesis of activated coenzyme UDPGA. UDPGA, that is uridine diphosphoglucuronic acid. So in the first step, there is the synthesis of the activated coenzyme UDPGA. So here alpha D glucose 1 phosphate plus UTP. UTP is the uridine triphosphate. In the presence of the pyrophosphorylase, we are getting the UDPG. And furthermore, UDPG, it is converted by the UDPG dehydrogenase to the UDPGA. So this is the first step. And in the second step, there is a transfer of a glucuronyl moiety from the UDPGA to the substrate RXH. RXH may be the O, COO, NH, or the S. So this is the second step, that is a transfer of glucuronyl moiety from the UDPGA, that is uridine diphosphoglucuronic acid, onto the substrate or onto the drug. So this is the second step, that is UDPGA plus RXH in presence of UDP glucuronyl transferase, and we are getting the glucuronic acid conjugate of that specific metabolite, and UDP gets free. Furthermore, the glucuronic acid conjugation, it is divided into the 4 types of conjugation, as previously we have seen. That is O glucuronide conjugation, or N glucuronide conjugation, S glucuronide conjugation, and C glucuronide conjugation. In the case of O glucuronide conjugation, the compounds contains the OH group, that is, for example, alcohol and the phenol. Chloramphenicol, it is an example of alcohol. The morphine and paracetamol, these are the examples of the phenol. And COOH compounds like salicylic acid. Then N glucuronide conjugation, it is possible in the imipramine and meprovamate. Then S glucuronide conjugation is possible in the thiophenol, and C glucuronide conjugation, it is possible in the phenylbutazone. Let us see the details of all these conjugation reactions. So here I have shown the example of the benzoic acid. So this is the UDPGA. This is here, it's the UDP, and this is the glucuronic acid. So here is benzoic acid. So there is a formation of the glucuronide of the benzoic acid, and the UDP gets dissociated, and this metabolic product or the conjugate, it is highly polar, water soluble, and excreted. Let us see the few examples of the specific glucuronidation. Very first example that is related with the phenols. The compounds like acetaminophen and morphine, these are the phenolic compound. Look at the structure. See here, OH group is present, which is a phenolic, and there is a chances of O-glucuronide conjugation with the acetaminophen as well as the morphine. Then the second one, that is the alcohols. Alcoholic group, it is present in the chloramphenicol as well as the propranolol. So there is a formation of these molecules or these drugs, they are going to be conjugated with the glucuronic acid. Then the enols, for example, hydroxycoumarine and N-hydroxylamines or amides, for example, N-hydroxyl dapsone. So this is a N-hydroxyl dapsone, and this one is a N-hydroxy 2-acetylminofluorine. So these compounds are going to be glucurinated and excreted from the body as glucuronide conjugate. Then aryl acids, for example, salicylic acid. So here COOH group is that, which is going to take a part in the glucuronide conjugation. Then aryl alkyl acids. So here OH group is present, for example, phenopropane. Then arylamine, for example, 7-amino-7-nitro-indazole. So here it's a NH2 group. So this is the N-glucuronide conjugation as there is an involvement of the N. Previously, we have seen the O-glucuronide conjugation. So here in the case of arylamine, there is an N conjugation. Similarly, the alkylamine, so here it's alkylamine. For example, decipramine, it is going to be glucurinated and excreted from the body as a glucuronide conjugate. Then the sulfonamides and the amides, again the N group from the sulfonamides, for example, sulfisoxazole, and amide, which comprises the, again N group is there. So there is a N-glucuronide conjugate, for example, the meprobamate, which is going to be conjugated with the glucuronic acid. Then similarly, the tertiary amines, for example, amitriptyline, which comprises the tertiary amine. So here it's the N group, and the aromatic amine. So here the aromatic amine is present, for example, cotinine, which are going to be conjugated with the glucuronic acid and furthermore excreted from the body. Then the S-glucuronide conjugation, for example, sulfahydryl and carbodithioacid. So in the case of sulfahydryl, example is methimazole. So here the thio group is present, so which is going to take part in the conjugation. And carbodithic acid, here the thiol group is present, for example, the disulfiram, isn't it? So this is the S-glucuronide conjugation. Examples are the methimazole and disulfiram reduced form. Then C-glucuronide conjugation, for example, phenylbutazone. So here at this position, the C, it is going to be conjugated with the glucuronic acid. So this is the C-glucuronide conjugation. Let us see the conjugation with the sulfate. So conjugation with the sulfate, it is less frequent, or you can say it as a less common than the glucuronidation, as the fewer number of inorganic sulfates present in the mammals. That is one of the possible reason, as the conjugation with the sulfate, it is limited. with a fewer number of functional groups like phenol, alcohols, arylamines, and N-hydroxy compounds. It is catalyzed, sulfate conjugations, it is catalyzed by the non-microsomal enzymes. The steps which are involved in the sulfate conjugation, it is again two steps. So very first one, that is the synthesis of activated coenzyme PAPS. So PAPS, phosphoadenosine phosphosulfate. And the second step, that is transfer of sulfate moiety from PAPS to substrate RXH. RXH may be the O or the NH. So the ATP, that is the adenosine triphosphate, plus sulfate in the presence of ATP sulfurylase and the magnesium, it gets converted into the APS, that is the adenosine phosphosulfate. Then adenosine phosphosulfate in presence of the APS phosphokinase and magnesium, we are getting the PAPS, that is the phosphoadenosine phosphosulfate. And the sulfate molecule, it is going to be transferred onto the drug molecule or its metabolites in the presence of sulfotransferase, and we are getting the sulfate conjugated product along with the PAP gets free. So these are the two steps which are involved in the sulfate conjugation. That is the very first one, that is synthesis of the activated coenzyme PAPS and transfer of a sulfate moiety from the PAPS to substrate RXH. Phenolic O-glucuronidation competes favorably with a sulfate due to limited sulfate availability. As on the previous slide, we have seen that the free organic sulfates or the only limited quantity of sulfates are available in the body, and that's why the drugs are going to take part in the glucuronidation. In the case of phenol, sulfate conjugates can be hydrolyzed back. One more thing is that if the drug it is going to be conjugated with the sulfate, there might be chances of dissociation of the sulfate conjugate, isn't it? That is one of the characteristics of the sulfate conjugation. So sulfoconjugation plays an important role in the hepatotoxicity and the carcinogenicity of the N-hydroxy arylamides. For example, the one more here I have cited one example again related with the infants and the young children. As on the glucuronidation, we have seen that in the case of infant, it is not possible to form the glucuronide conjugates, and drugs are going to take a part in the sulfate conjugation. The examples of the sulfate conjugation, for example, the drugs like alpha methyl dopa. So this is the alpha methyl dopa, and this is the OH group. So there may be the sulfation. Then albuterol. This is the structure of albuterol, and here it's the OH group. Then the terbutaline. So this is the OH group which take parts in the sulfation. The rest of the structure I have not shown, but the examples are the acetaminophen, phenacetin, then the phenols like salbutamol, paracetamol, and amines like aniline. Yet another example I have cited here, that is the minoxidil. So here the NO group is present, so there may be the sulfation of this minoxidil at this position, and there is a formation of a minoxidil sulfate. So this is about the conjugation with the sulfate. Let us see the conjugation with alpha amino acids. So alpha amino acids conjugation of a variety of carboxylic acids such as aromatic, then the aryl acetic and heterocyclic carboxylic acids leads to amide bond formation. So in the alpha amino acids, there is a formation of the amide bond. For example, the glycine conjugates are the most common in the case of alpha amino acid. But apart from glycine, there are so many other amino acids are also there. Which are going to take a part in the conjugation. For example, taurine, arginine, asparagine, histidine, lysine, then the glutamate, aspartate, alanine, serine, and so on. It is a alpha amino acid conjugation. It is less common due to limited numbers of the amino acid. The drugs which are going to be metabolized by the conjugation with alpha amino acid, for example, bromophenylramine. Let us see the steps which are involved in the conjugation with the alpha amino acid. Again, there are two steps. Very first one is the activation and second one is the acetylation. So in the first step, that is the activation of carboxylic acid drug substrate. So here, this is the carboxylic acid. Here it's ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. In presence of acyl synthetase, there is a formation of a RCO-AMP. Then RCO-AMP plus coenzyme SH. In presence of acyl-CoA transferase, we are getting the RCO-SCOA plus AMP. And the second step, that is the acetylation of the amino acid. So in the presence of N-acyl transferase, and we are getting finally the conjugated product of the drug, and COSH becomes free. Here where R dash is equal to dash CH2 if glycine, CH2 NH2 if glutamine. Let us see the conjugation with the glutathione. So glutathione, it is the tripeptide. Look at the structure. So this is a glutathione. It comprises the glutamic acid, cysteine, and glycine. That is a glu-cis-glu. It is found virtually in all mammalian tissues. Its thiol function. So see here, thiol function. This is the nucleophile. As a scavenger of a harmful electrophilic parent drugs or their metabolites. For example, SN2 reaction, SNAR reactions, or the Michael addition. You may be aware about all these SN2 or SNAR reactions in the organic or medicinal chemistry. Let us see the mechanism which is involved in the conjugation with the glutathione. So very first one, that is a nucleophilic substitution. So Rx plus GSH, we're getting the RSG, RSG, and H and X gets free. For example, sulfates and organophosphates. And in the case of nucleophilic addition, suppose RCH double bond CH R dash plus GSH. So there is a whole addition of that RCH SG CH2 R dash. For example, paracetamol. So this is about the conjugation with glutathione. Let us see the acetylation. So acetylation, it's a metabolism for drug containing the primary amino group. For example, aliphatic and aromatic amines, or amino acids, sulfonamides, hydrazines, and hydrazides. The function of acetylation is to deactivate the drug. Although N-acetyl prokineamide, see the structure, this is the prokineamide, and acetylation which gets converted into the N-acetyl prokineamide and which is going to be excreted via urine, is potent as a parent arithmetic drug prokineamide. So this is also having a good anti-arithmetic activity, or maybe the products are more toxic than the parent drug. For example, N-acetyl isoniazide. In the case of isoniazide, if the isoniazide gets acetylated, we are getting the N-acetyl isoniazide, and which is more toxic than the parent compound. The examples which are prone to acetylation, for example, aliphatic amines like histamine, then aromatic amines, for example, PAS, PABA, dapsone, then sulfonamides like a sulfanilamide and sulfapyridine, and hydrazides like isoniazides. The acetylation. Let us see the methyl conjugation. So there is a transfer of methyl molecule. So this is again minor conjugation pathway and important in the biosynthesis of epinephrine and melatonin. In the catabolism of norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, and histamine, and in modulating the activities of the macromolecules like proteins and nucleic acid. But methylation of an amine reduces the polarity and hydrophilicity of the drug molecule. So this is a very important thing. In all other cases, the conjugation reactions increases the polarity as well as the hydrophilicity of the drug molecule and thereby promotes the excretion of a drug. But in the case of methylation, except quaternary ammonium salt, all whatever the amines, reduced amines, they are having the less polarity and less hydrophilicity. A variety of methyl transferase such as COMT, that is a catechol O methyl transferase, which is an enzyme, then phenol O methyl transferase, then N methyl transferase, S methyl transferase, etc. are the responsible for catalyzing the transfer of methyl group from SAM to RXH. So here the SAM, it is nothing but a S-adenosyl methionine. So again, methyl conjugation, it is a two-step reaction. So look at the figure. So very first step, that is the synthesis of an activated coenzyme SAM in the presence of methionine adenosyl transferase. So this is the L-methionine plus ATP. In presence of methionine adenosyl transferase, we are getting the S-adenosyl methionine. And in a second step, there is a transfer of methyl group from SAM to the substrate molecule in presence of methyl transferase, where here the X is equal to O, NH or AS. The example is, see here the example, that is a methionine. So here the drug molecule, and there is a formation of the methyl conjugate. Examples like, say for example, O methylation, for example, morphine and L-dopa, then N methylation, for example, normorphine and nicotine, then S methylation, for example, propyl thiouracil and 6-mercaptopurine. So this is about the methyl conjugation. Let us see the miscellaneous conjugation reactions which are responsible for the phase 2 biotransformation. Very first one, that is the fatty acid and cholesterol conjugation. So there may be the chances of conjugation of drug molecule with the fatty acids as well as the cholesterol. So hydroxyl containing drug can undergo conjugation with a wide range of endogenous fatty acids such as saturated acids from C10 to C16 and unsaturated acids such as oleic and linoleic acid. The cholesterol ester metabolites have been detected in the drugs containing either an ester or carboxylic acid. So there may be the also chances of the conjugation with the fatty acid and cholesterol, and yet a few miscellaneous conjugation like a conjugation with a cyanide, it is a lethal. Then conjugation with the ribose and conjugation with the taurine. So conjugation with the ribose, purine pyrimidine ribose, we are getting nucleotide. Conjugation with the taurine, bile acid plus taurine, we are getting the pi. So here we have finished the phase 2 biotransformation or phase 2 reactions which are involved in the metabolism of the drug. Let us see the summary. So in the today's module, we have discussed the various phase 2 reactions like the conjugation with glucuronic acid, which is a important pathway for the drug removal from the body. Then conjugation with the sulfate moieties, conjugation with the alpha amino acids, conjugation with the glutathione and mercapturic acid formation, then acetylation reaction, methylation reaction, and certain miscellaneous conjugation reactions. Hope all of you have understood the things. These are the some references which I have referred for the today's presentation. Thank you.